in the United States of America. In the United States of America, this was happening. So now, under the leadership of Joe Biden and the Biden-Harris administration, with Democrats in the House and the Senate, we will have this happen. And so let's make history.
Happy Sunday, everybody, and hope everyone's having a great weekend. How's your day been? Tell me in the comments below. So there's some big news circulating around our fourth stimulus check. Senate Democrat Joe Manchin is now urging the Federal Reserve to address inflation as soon as possible, and a key Senate vote on the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill is taking place today. Everybody, we have a lot of news going on surrounding the fourth stimulus check, so you want to be sure to stay until the end of this video to never miss out on the very important stimulus check information.
We're working around the clock on the Build Back Better plan, which does three critical things. One, it transforms our infrastructure. We're going to put Americans to work modernizing our roads, our highways, our ports, our airports, rail, and transit systems.
So the Senate debated amendments to the $1 trillion, 2,700-page bipartisan infrastructure bill late into the night. Let's not forget, there are many changes going on to this infrastructure bill. It might include an increase to help out our seniors in regards to Social Security benefits, and it might include a fourth stimulus check. The final facts are not done yet. Plus, Chuck Schumer adjourned the session and said proceedings would then resume Saturday. The New York Democrats said there would be a vote to cut off debate on the measure at the beginning of that session, and a green light would set a stage for a vote on final passage early next week.
He believed, and I quote, that it is not enough just to open the gates of opportunity. All of our citizens must have the ability to walk through those gates. And that remains true today.
Earlier Thursday, the Nonpartisan Budget Office estimated that the bill would add $256 billion to the federal deficit over the next decade. The legislation includes $550 billion in new spending for the nation's physical infrastructure. The agency said that from 2021 to 2031, the legislation, also known as the infrastructure bill, would decrease direct spending by $110 billion. The Democrats and Republicans have some disagreement on this. Chuck Schumer said that we very much want to finish this important bill, but Republican Senate leaders meanwhile have cautioned Schumer against acting too quick to allow all members the opportunity to propose changes to the bill. South Dakota Senator John Thune, the Senate's number 2 Republican, said, "We need to take time to get this legislation right, and that means giving senators who are not part of the working group adequate time to offer amendments and hopefully improve this product."
Give you a little tiny bit of a history lesson. Now, Republicans opposed the creation of Social Security from the get-go. They were against it. They weren't willing to work with FDR and Francis Perkins and the heroes who created our Social Security system.
A bipartisan group of Senate negotiators has spent the last few weeks in talks with President Biden and White House aides to hash out the details of the bill. They announced a deal last week, everybody, and Biden has shared the proposal as providing the most significant investment in the nation's roads, transit, and all things infrastructure. By the way, everybody, I want to know your thoughts on President Biden. He did promise to send out more stimulus relief, and he did promise to increase Social Security benefits. He advocated for helping out our seniors, and of course, helping out the American people. Do you believe that President Biden has kept his promise to you guys? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And also, everybody, a bipartisan group of senators have spent the last few weeks in talks with President Biden and the White House. They announced a deal last week, and Biden has shared the proposal as providing the most significant investment in the nation's roads and transit in decades. So after the Senate clears the bill and sends it to the House, senators will vote to approve a budget resolution that provides the blueprint for the $3.5 trillion package. Now, approval of the budget resolution jumpstarts the fast-track process that Democrats in Congress are using to pass a larger plan known as budget reconciliation. The procedure allows legislation to clear the Senate with 51 votes and without Republican support. Both pieces of legislation are moving through Congress as part of a dual-track strategy.
They're going to elevate as things that need to be debated here. That could be the faster way to get to the ultimate vote on this bipartisan bill. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer laid it out this way. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of if they take the easy path, which is the shorter path, or the hard path.
That means it could be weeks for Biden's desk to receive the fourth stimulus bill. And meanwhile, PELOSI, Nancy Pelosi has said that she will not put the bipartisan infrastructure bill on the House floor until the Senate moves on a broader $3.5 trillion package. Senator Joe Manchin is now taking the Federal Reserve to task over inflation. He wrote to Jerome Powell, and called for the U.S. Central Bank to immediately reverse course and remove support for the economy before it overheats. Manchin wrote in a letter, "With the recession over and our strong economic recovery well underway, I'm increasingly alarmed that the Fed continues to inject record amounts of stimulus into our economy." Yes, everybody, it looks like Joe Manchin is not in support of a fourth stimulus check, and this means that he might hold our bill back. Manchin credited Fed policies as instrumental to helping America avoid a long-term economic crisis. He urged Powell and other Fed officials to scale back the $120 billion worth of bonds to the central bank. And everybody, I truly appreciate your amazing support. Until next time, have a great day.
Unanimous consent that the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I support hard infrastructure. It's in my DNA. As a kid, I grew up shoveling asphalt. My father and my grandfather were in the road construction business. I served as the Economic Development Commissioner in my home state of Tennessee. I understand firsthand the importance of quality infrastructure. It was essential to attracting good jobs to my state. So I'm in complete agreement that shoring up our hard infrastructure is a worthy cause. This bill does some of that, and that's good. But there are both good ways and bad ways to achieve noble ends. And the question is, what is the best way to achieve this goal? And my frustration is with the methods and with the vehicle that is being used here. The first problem is that the bill's sponsors repeatedly said it would be paid for. In fact, it's not. And it's more than a little bit off. It's over $1 trillion short. That's almost 7 times the budget of my home state of Tennessee. We waited weeks for the text of this legislation. Before the text even existed, the Democrat leader forced the Senate to vote on proceeding to it. There's absolutely no reason for rushing this process and attempting to limit scrutiny of this bill, other than the Democrats' completely artificial, self-imposed, and politically driven timeline. There'll be more on that later. The text, all 2,700 plus pages of it, was finally made available to us 6 days ago. The Senate has been able to consider that this week. But the Senate continued to wait all week for the Congressional Budget Office's analysis of what it will cost. The Congressional Budget Office is the entity that Congress has agreed is responsible for scorekeeping on what legislation